This is day 6. And I mean, for day 6 of post major surgery, I am feeling great. This is the loud, quiet, living the empty nest.
Welcome back to the Loud Quiet, episode 66, which we just reconfirmed with ourselves here. Merry Christmas to everyone. We're actually in a little bit of a holiday spirit today, as one of my favorite decorations has made its way to the table today. It does play music, but we don't have the copyright for it, so I am not going to hit that button. Whoa. But just imagine it playing in the background, and you'll enjoy that. Today, we do want to talk a little bit about what happened last week. I think you can, for those that are looking, you can see that Clancy is back. And so we are.
And she has a neck.
She
And
does
a
have a
chin.
neck and a chin.
Oh, I can't laugh.
So we are going to talk a little bit about the plastic surgery. There's though beyond plastic surgery, we've been having a little fun with the world of Dear Abby. So hang tight. You're going to want to get through plastic surgery and have some fun with us with Dear Abby. So it's going to be a good episode today.
Yeah. So this is episode 66. If you caught my mistake on Facebook before I fixed it, that was my post anesthesia post, so I was off by
We're
number.
just lucky that that's the only thing that you put there. Who knows? There should be a rule against social media access.
Oh yeah, well that's
anesthesia.
what I don't remember who it was, but someone said, I think it was after Tanner's wisdom teeth, don't let them have their phones because you never know what they're gonna put. So yes. Anyway, so yes, I am. This is day 6, and I mean, for day 6 of post major surgery, I mean, I am feeling great. I thought about wearing my scarf, but I don't really need it. You can't really see much anything. I mean, there's bruising.
There's bruises.
There's
Yeah,
bruising,
there's
but I
definitely
can't
bruising.
hide that with the scarf. I just meant the sutures and the staples are all hidden in my greasy part of this hair that's brought to you by Aquaphor.
So you're saying that a new hair moisture technique of Aquaphor is not recommended?
I mean, I will say this. At least with this surgery, he's like, oh my gosh, shower every day. Make sure you're getting all your incisions clean and your hair clean and everything, which, praise Jesus, because that is my one. I am not one of those people that can go for the days, and I know my hairstylist would kill me, but I can't. I just can't do it. So anyways, but yeah, so yeah, feeling good.
You know what? It's interesting. Last week you called it a procedure, and I called you out on it. This week you said, "Yeah, I had major surgery."
Well, okay.
'Cause it was.
Let's just get into and none of the pictures are graphic, so there's not anything. There is a drain in one of them, but so if you're, don't like that kind of stuff, but you'd have to really zoom in to see. So yes, so here was my markups, and I have to turn still because I'm still a little stuff. So this was the roadmap that Dr. Rana did on my neck before I went into surgery. I mean, he was on drawing on me and erasing and going back and drawing for a good 10 minutes. I mean,
well, I wasn't there. I should say
you weren't there, but I mean, he is a perfectionist, and the anesthesiologist who I had like a 15-minute conversation with beforehand, we just were shooting the crap. He came in and he said, we will stay in there until he is satisfied with your outcome.
And he said as much when I saw him after, when he came out and you were in recovery. He said, yeah, Dr. Anna's a perfectionist. And seeing your, as you call it, a roadmap, it looks like, Spider-Man did a spider web all over your neck there.
So, it was about a 4.5-hour surgery. We got home. It was amazing. I remember, I looked at the clock. It was 7:30. That's when the anesthesia wore off, because I remember you came in and you're like, oh my gosh, you're talking like a human now. It was again. And it was still grog and tired, but it just, the fog had lifted a little bit. So this is obviously how I came home with my Q-tip head, and yes, that's the drain picture. So you are wrapped so tight, but it's not pain. It's just, and they keep you so compressed because they want everything to.
How would I describe this? It almost, you look like Kenny from South Park.
No.
That's it. You with the hoodie pulled forward, and here you can see your face, but you can barely see Kenny's face in South Park. That's what it just hit me.
Okay.
So there you go. It's a Q-tip or Kenny from South Park.
So how was the first night for you?
Well, I want to go back a little bit. And one is, I will say that you hear all those legendary stories of anesthesia and that. I didn't get any of those. You didn't tell any stories on the way home. You just were really quiet. Mm-hmm. I do. Oh, you know what I do when I talk about is during the surgery, and it surprised me, this surgery, more so than your first one. There were times that I was kind of worried, and not like anything fact based. So I have all these irrational fears of driving back and seeing a fire truck or ambulance or something there at the surgery center, those kind of things. I was surprised by how much I, just as the guy sitting in the waiting room, was anxious. It was an incredible relief to get that text. I said, things are going great. I was surprised by the realization, I think it may be by being older, by being exposed to other people and their surgeries and things that could go wrong. I will leave it with this. I am so thankful for the care that Dr. Rana, the anesthesiologist, Dr. Simpson, his name was Rick, Simpson. Dr. Rick, and the care that you received from the nursing team as well, to not only give you the results you wanted, but to keep you healthy and alive through this. And so that's the part that I'll celebrate. It really is something special.
So the next morning you get up and you go back in and you get your bandages all taken off. And I mean, when the bandages come off, here's a picture. I put a picture of Dr. Rana in here.
And with their permission, we'll put a link in the notes to his practice.
Highly, highly recommend. I mean, his bedside manner alone and just the thoroughness, and his entire staff, including the anesthesiologist, who is just, someone that comes in just to do with him. Everyone has been amazing, is amazing. I mean, I got text that night from the anesthesiologist. You got text from the PA. Just everything has been top notch. So there's just a picture.
To be very transparent, we are not sponsored. This is not a sponsored episode. This is just our own personal experience.
So bandages came off, and immediately, I mean, you can just feel the fluid and the swelling. And he was like, "Now look, you're going to look like a football probably day 3 to 4. He said, all I tell people is focus on your jawline. He said, just keep looking at your jawline because that's going to be there and that's how it's all going to settle up. So this is what I felt like.
If you are audio only, what are we looking at? The Cupid doll.
So that doll that you squeeze.
Or Panic Pete, I guess.
The doll that you squeeze where, the eyes and the ears pop out. And again, it wasn't pain. It was just, and it's still pretty, like I'm touching my earlobes. I can feel, I know they're there, but I can't feel them because the fluid is just still getting out and it's swollen because you've had major surgery in that area. But yes, I mean, at one point, I felt like I was like, oh my God, my ears are going to pop off of my head. But they did not. So
I was glad when they popped those bandages off that I don't know if you recall my reaction.
Yeah, you were like,
wow,
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's good that I could see that before the swelling kicked in because then you do end up looking like a football.
And
it was one of those of, all right,
I didn't
this
put
is great.
Any of those pictures, but yes, it was
what you wanted.
amazing. Yeah. I mean, I was already like, oh my gosh, it looks, like I said, I have a neck and a chin and a jawline. So
you even got others saying, ooh, hey, wait, let me know about that. I think I want to get into that.
My dad was like, maybe I should go have that done. So, the drain was really the most annoying thing because you have to keep it pinned to a sports bra while you're showering. And it literally was like stuck in the back of your head here. And so I was so thankful on Thursday when I texted them and said, because they said, just come when you come Monday for your sutures out, we'll take the drain out. But if it's not draining, then you can come in. And I remember this with my other surgery too. I drove myself back to the other one. It was like, get these drains out of me because I had 2 here and 2 up here. This one was just 1, but where it was just such a kind of nuisance So, I mean, it was the best relief when she pulled that drain out because this is the Star Wars dude that has that neck thing. I don't even know his name, but Star Wars people will know. But he has that big thing that kind of wraps around his neck. And that's what even though my drain was tiny, the line was tiny, but it just felt like there was something there. And even when it came out, I still had this, you could see the ridge of where it was. So I was so thankful to get that out. And it was so funny because we were talking to Tegan that night and, I just had this memory pop up when I had my first surgery. She was 3. And again, it was tummy tuck and mommy makeover. And so I had drains. And I mean, every day she would come in. I need to see the blood. Can I see the blood? And so I'd show her the drains. This one, the child, when I was telling her about
on the
phone, them pulling out the drain, she almost threw up. She was gagging.
You
yeah.
could hear the
I was
irk on the phone.
Okay, this one's not headed into any medical field anywhere. But anyways, so yeah, so that was a relief to have that off. And then, so here you can see, if you're online, if not, I mean, I even sent this picture to my brother in Germany. He was like, "Oh my gosh, you have a jaw." It's like, yeah, I know. I mean, it's just, it's crazy what they can do.
There's no way we could. I mean, we're not going to spend that much time talking about it. But my gosh, it is stunning to see the result change, and knowing that right there, what you're looking at there, even your lips are kind of pulled together because the swelling is there. You're not as flexible. Knowing that that's what that looks like. He even said that the gap between day 6 and day 8 is when you're really going to suddenly go, "Oh my gosh,
and
this looks good."
It's even 6 months is supposed to be the peak that it's everything is completely
I didn't remember
healed.
that.
Yeah, it's
The
6
way you
months.
say that, it's like that's the peak. It's downhill from there.
No. I mean, that's supposed to be,
you're fully recovered.
yeah.
You're all that. Yeah.
So,
And I will say that because there are folks listening here that might be thinking from the caregiver side, you recovered and bounced back pretty quickly. You just need to be available, right? You weren't as mobile and certainly would wear out the first day 1 and 2, but by day 3, I even had to kind of tell you, "Hey, stop it! I can do that." Kind of thing.
no, you were super helpful.
Oh, I wasn't trying to do pat back.
No, but you were super helpful. Yes, the first day and just keeping me on track with the meds, which the meds regimen is not
Mostly
it's
antibiotic and
easy.
some anti-swelling with some
I
pain.
mean, I took one high dose pain pill just the first night and then nothing.
Mostly Tylenol from then on.
Yeah, and I'm even off the Tylenol now. So, excuse me. I haven't talked this much in several days. You just being available for me was the most helpful thing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have much of an appetite. Nothing sounded good. I was more concerned about you getting the food and stuff that you wanted and needed.
Which I kept telling you,
I know,
quit it.
but that's just a mom.
And what did I do? I
probably.
made a whole week of bad choices. Like with you not in control, holy crap. Well, actually, that's probably most of the crap that I ate. I mean, I haven't had a box of canes in years.
Yeah. That's not true. That's an over exaggeration.
It's been a while since I've hit canes.
I think you've had it in Arizona.
I certainly haven't bought
anyway,
a chicken biscuit in a while. I went all in on just eating badly.
Yeah, but the worst part of it for me is just the sitting around. Because if you're listening and you know me, I can't I'm not good at it, but I really did force myself this time because the last time I was taking care of a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
This time I had no responsibilities. So I really did try to force myself to take those few days of just sitting. But
that's what I've told
my
folks
gosh,
when they ask me. I said the most difficult part of her recovery has been the mental part of it.
And that's what, so finally, like Thursday morning, I just walked around the house.
What was the big, like, you got to do an excursion?
Oh, yes. Yesterday, we went to the grocery store. So I I don't want to freak anybody out, although I don't think anybody would really. I mean, there is bruising, and it's not like I had anything done to my eyes, so I don't need the big sunglasses. Like, but yes, so we did our grocery trip, and again, thank goodness
Yeah, I know, but
you're with
when you
me.
got back, you're like, man, that felt so good. And I'm like,
Yeah, I
a
know.
Walmart grocery
Yay.
trip. I realize, we talked about it's Christmas. You look like Mary. You're wrapped up like any sort of bad movie about Mary.
Or I
So
look like again another Star Wars character
that's
with
right.
their
You're some.
wrap. But you know what it really was? It really helped me that you were willing, because I know that's not your favorite thing to do, but that you were willing to do that with me because it got so much off of my mind. Because, yeah, Christmas is in 10 days.
Yeah.
And so I got the bulk of our things that I could buy beforehand done. It whittled my list down to very small things left to do.
Yeah.
So I was very
Hey, I had fun.
appreciative of that.
I had fun. I got to sneak things in the basket. What did you say when we got home? Was I shopping with a kid?
Yeah, I know.
Hey, I got a road trip coming up. I need some snacks.
So yeah, so it did feel nice to get out. And then, I had suggested to you, Tanner finished his last final. He's very happy. So I said, hey, why don't you see if he wants to
Yeah.
meet you somewhere for dinner? So y'all did
We went
that
to
last
Postillon
night.
last
Yeah.
night. That was a lot of fun to do that. I was
Yeah.
glad to get that chance to hang out with him
I'm
and
glad that
get out
y'all,
of the house.
yeah. So
And let's be honest, there's probably a little bit of you wanted me out of the house too. There were a couple times that we were starting to get on each other's nerves. There were a couple of edge moments. And
well,
so that's something that's important in the caregiving is leave them alone.
I will say this for all the women listening. Maybe don't time it when it's about to be that time of the month. Because
I didn't know that
I
part
could
of that
feel
until
myself
just
on, I could
now.
feel myself on Friday. I was like, I know I'm being a little sharp with him, and I know why.
Well, I'm glad to know that now.
Anyway,
I kept saying, just be patient. She's
I
recovering.
kept it. It only flared up
I hear you.
a couple of times. So anyway,
That's awesome.
so yeah, but so yeah, so there's the journey, and like you talked about, we're getting into Rick and we still take the paper.
I call it the dead
Yeah,
tree paper
you,
is still thrown on our front lawn. I imagine that there's probably 4 people that still get that anymore, but I love holding that paper. I love reading it. I love, and for me, a lot of it's the comics, but there's
well,
other things that we
and
like to
so
read.
what's in the section with the
Yeah,
comics?
we will. Well, I say we. Did you kind of just recently come on board with this? Because what I've been, it's not a traditionally male sort of like stereotypically male thing, but I have always loved reading Dear Abby, or
Miss Manners.
there was Miss Manners, but then there was also
Is
I think Dear. I
Well,
forget
there
the other
Ann
one.
Landers, but she's not in this one. It's
No.
Carolyn Max is the other one.
Right. No, I know that, but
But
so
Ann
I've been
Lander, yeah.
reading these as long as I've been taking the paper, and I love these things, and they make me laugh. Some of them are fake letters. Others you go, wait, why would somebody even ask that as a question? Because for the love of God, no, don't do that, or yes, do that.
So you asked me if I used to read them religiously. I did. Then I got into the habit of I would turn on the TV when I would eat lunch. Well, I kind of went back to stop doing that. I was like, I need to get back into reading the paper so I don't sound like an absolute idiot walking around these streets. But, anyways, so and you started
Is
mentioning
that the Dallas News slogan? Take our paper so you don't sound like an idiot walking around the streets.
So, anyway, oh, yeah. So I started getting back into reading them again. And at one point I said, oh, you know what? It'd be fun if we did a podcast
A
on
reaction.
some of the ones that we pulled. Well,
Because we'll talk about them. We're like,
yeah.
did you see this?
Yeah.
Well, let's share it with everybody else.
And so I said, oh, well, let's do a holiday focused one because we figured for sure there'd be holiday ones. And there were a few, there weren't a ton, but no kidding. 2 weeks before my facelift, this one came out. Facelift booked, but feeling so vain. And so she said, I want to do this, but I'm struggling with feelings of shame and embarrassment. And you know what? I like her. She said, I judge myself more harshly and I'm feeling a lot of embarrassment. Should I just accept how my face and body are changing with the years? And she said, any procedure is a risk, but you are absolutely not required to shame yourself. If you can do this and want to do it, and be happy about it. So I was like, yes, exactly. That has been my.
Well, and it's what you said last week, and it was not influenced by that article. You said that phrase that you'd heard on another podcast of if do it and do it sooner than
When you start
yeah,
noticing, that's the time that you should do it instead of waiting until
which I've
it's.
taken that lesson into a lot of other things. I think that's something. This is a bit of an aside, and we'll go out and we'll come right back in. But I learned that lesson with my
Oh,
gosh, why did I wait 3 years to replace a catalytic converter in my truck and fight through that when I could have just gotten it done? There's a water thing that I had to fix in the pool that's been bugging me for 6 months, and it took all of 10 minutes to get fixed once I knew how to do it. So anything that you see that you could get fixed, whether it's plastic surgery or some sort of repair, do it sooner than later.
yeah. If you want to, it's a choice.
Well, yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
choice. But and that's the same, and I think I remember it may have been my mom. I don't remember who said, but when you're out shopping, if you see it, get it because it's
My
going to
mom's
be
always said
gone
that.
by the time you get back.
She
So,
called it the Russian black market
yeah.
approach because it was a lot of the trips that she would take. It's okay, I saw it at this store. Maybe I'll come
Yeah.
loop back around. You'll never loop back
Yeah.
around. So same kind of thing.
So yeah, but before we get into our articles that we have, I've got and I have to pull my phone up a little bit so I can. So this was actually, common themes in Dear Abby holiday letters: toxic family members, relationship issues, hosting stress, family traditions gone wrong. I like that. Disagreements about outdated or unwanted holiday traditions.
We talked a little bit about one of those in our world.
Exclusion or feeling left out. That's people may
Yeah.
feel, and we actually had this discussion with someone that's in our life group. They said, well, if this person comes, then this person can't come. And so, luckily we don't have any of that dynamic in our family so far.
No, you look at some of those and you realize how difficult this period can be for many. And yeah, I wonder who's the person that says, I'm going to write to these columnists, and thank goodness they do because it provides a mixture of entertainment and wisdom for us. But it is like that the hosting stress is one that is universal. Well, all of these are somewhat universal because related to those traditions, there can be that, well, it's always at Franny's house, so Franny's always going to be the host. Well, maybe sometime Franny is like, I'm done with this crap.
Yeah. Well, and that is one thing that my mom and I, because she does Christmas Eve, I do Christmas Day. We have got it down to a science.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't veer from the menu because everyone loves the menu. The only thing I change up occasionally is the Christmas breakfast, but it is down to now I can make my list before I even know. And I love having Christmas Day at our house because then we can just chill, and our Christmas Day is our
Yeah.
meal is hot, fancy, high end.
Our lifestyle is not. Our lifestyle
Our
is much
attire
better.
is casual. So
That what that gets into is something that'll be interesting. Family traditions, that says gone wrong, but outdated. You just said, I've got it down to a science. It's exactly perfect. And you and I are very aligned. I love it. Is there going to come a time? Well, actually, there has come a time. Tegan specifically has said, look, I don't really like the tenderloin that much. And so you've adapted to
you're
add
adding
something.
ham
Yeah.
this year, yes.
And so
'Cause I
those
know
sorts
that
of
makes her
things.
happy.
I think what a lot of these, like a lot of the themes come down to that it's uncomfortable to express an opinion about a holiday, whether that is family relationship issues or traditions, because the holidays have such pressure with them that by voicing any sort of opinion that changes anything or introduces a difficulty or something like that, it's hard to do. And that's what I'd say is let's use Tegan as the example. You
I
don't
mean,
like it? Voice it.
and isn't that sad that, these big holiday and really Christmas is the biggest, I would say. Thanksgiving next, Easter's in there, but we've put such a everything has to be perfect. And I do it too, but where I find I do it is the gifts.
Yes, you have
I
always been that way, even
yeah,
to where I've called
yeah.
not fought over. I don't think that's the right
No,
word,
I don't think
but
we
where I've had I'm a different place on that
Yeah.
spectrum.
And so, but really it's just what did I just say? I just love having it at our house. Everyone can chill. We watch the traditional movie Die Hard. We have it on. So,
Another Tegan introduced tradition.
Yeah, it's sad that it's become, or some of us have put it on such a pedestal that it has to be one way, when, you know what? It is what it is. And this year, I'm post surgery, so I'm like, if that doesn't get done, it doesn't get done.
Or if it's the Christmas vacation model, right? What did he want? He wanted the perfect one, and all the
good
work
Lord,
going.
let's not wish any of that stuff on me.
Don't put that into the.
Yeah.
But the idea of that perfect, and it's a movie, it's a culture sort of thing, and it is. No, it's a movie and culture and just tradition inspired sort of thing, allowing for the flexibility.
Yeah. Well, these were just some examples of Dear Abby scenarios. A person struggling with a sibling always brings up past arguments during family dinners.
We don't bring up past arguments.
No,
we just always bring the same story about your mom in Thailand.
Yeah. A couple trying to decide how to navigate different holiday traditions with their partner's family. We went through that. Yeah, we went through that. Soon we will
re-navigate that as the next generation does what they do.
We went through that, and that was a tough conversation to have. Someone feeling pressured to attend a family gathering despite ongoing conflict with a relative. Luckily, we don't have that. Knock on some wood.
Actually, I guess we should say we don't know about that, but maybe somebody has a conflict with us, and they just are forced to come, but they hate us.
Maybe so.
If you do, let us know.
A person who is the primary host and is feeling overwhelmed by the responsibility. And I have been there, and I know my mom has been there. I mean, she hosts a bazillion things on top of our Christmas Eve, and I know she wants everything to be perfect too. I texted her yesterday about something, and she said getting the house ready for the party tomorrow night. So yeah, she's just, but that's her scene. Right. So so let's go through.
We've got some fun ones here as well. So you gonna go or am I?
No, you can go.
Okay, so one of the things about holidays is gifts and gift giving, and that can always be a challenge. Well, apparently it's not a challenge for this sister because it's a hoarder. And so the hoarder turns her stash into gifts. And so the sister, Mary Ann, I love all the, Dear Abby has to come with it, that she refuses to clean out her home, but the way that she's starting to clean out her home is giving her treasures away to others.
Treasures, in quotes.
Air quotes. And I sense that unloading these items on us gives Mary Ann a feeling of comfort. How do we express to Mary Ann that we have no desire to receive her hoard bit by bit without reversing the progress in her disorder?
Basically, Mary Ann's a genius because she's getting them to do that.
Let's look here. I don't think that's what Dear Abby said, but she did say you're not going to fix Mary Ann, and she's glad that she's taking baby steps. It wouldn't be helpful to express a desire that you don't receive the reward. Just accept them, quietly donate them, or give them to someone who might use them. She missed something. Or throw them in the trash. So, what do you, do you have a reaction to that one? Because, how would you handle a family member that was doing that?
Well, I think you have to know the situation. Like, okay, Christmas vacation, Aunt Bethany wrapped up her cat. There are times,
and her Jell-O mold.
There are times when people get older that they don't necessarily know what they're doing, so you just have to be gracious about it, and then, like she said, just discard of it after they leave.
And I think what's woven into that one is something that it wasn't necessarily up there, but a lot of these holiday things come into how can we solve another problem inside of the context of the holidays? What this letter is saying is, look, separate those two things. If she's handling her holidays or her hoarding, then kind of help that along. Don't let the holiday and the gift giving get in the way of that. Just accept the gift and handle it like you would any other gift, and keep that other issue. And I think that's what happens in the holidays is there's other baggage being brought into the holidays that people feel compelled because they're together that have to be, quote, air quotes again, have to be addressed at the holidays, when the reality is, maybe just have the holiday and worry on the issue some other time.
Well, and I think we've all, not necessarily if it was a re-gift or something they pulled out of their closet, but we've all opened a gift that we're like, oh, thanks.
What did Seinfeld say? It's when you name it. Oh, thank you for the. If you name the gift, then you know you don't like it.
Okay. I'm gonna pay
Oh, what a
attention.
great punch
I'm gonna
bowl.
pay attention to
Thanks.
that then. So,
What you got?
all right, I have must family host awful in-laws,
No.
and it doesn't have to necessarily be in-laws versus your own flesh and blood, but so yes, this one was about, it's on my turns, my family's turn to host, but my in-laws are terrible guests. They show up late. They don't take their shoes off. Okay, I don't care. I don't make people take, but I know that's a thing
If that
for
was your
some
thing,
reason.
that's
Yeah.
what you'd expect.
They offer to bring a side dish, but either don't follow through or bring something entirely different. They let their kids run wild, jumping on the furniture. They make messes. They don't offer to clean up. They leave dirty dishes everywhere. I mean, you did marry into this family, so is the person that you married like this? Because I don't know. Anyway, so, she just said, indeed, these are all good reasons not to want to entertain these people, but this is Miss Manners. Can think of two good reasons to do so. They are your in laws, and it's your turn. So,
Yeah.
again, you just have to take everything at this time because sometimes these are people you don't see.
Right.
We live close enough to ours that we see them, but sometimes people are traveling. You don't see these people maybe once a year.
Right.
So, do you want it to be fraught with negativity or just be like, I'll deal with it, whatever, after they're gone? And I get it. As the host, it sucks when people don't respect your home and don't respect the work that you've put in for this holiday.
Yeah, agree with that. The letter, though, as written, is interesting. There's a couple categories in there. One is jumping on the furniture. If you have rules, if there's like house rules, like shoes come off or shoes stay on, whatever. If there's house rules, well, there's certain lines that no, I expect my guests to do a certain thing, and jumping on a furniture could be one of those. Hey, we don't do that here. You feeling rambunctious? Hey, you got a backyard, you got a front yard. Let's go put whatever you need to do, right? The leaving the dishes around and that kind of stuff, some of that's just hosting. If you actually have people, if you're hosting and you have guests, well, I don't want my guests cleaning up. And actually, it's funny. There's a lot of letters that I've seen written to Dear Abby and Miss Manners of, why do my guests feel compelled to come into the kitchen and help with the dishes? They mess everything up. I want it done my way. So people have the other perspective of,
Yeah.
get out of my kitchen. And in this one, I'm with you that it's sort of a, hey, you're the host. Relax a little with the acknowledgement that there are house rules of, look,
Yeah.
don't throw the vase on the ground out of entertainment.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so like, my dad will usually always go in after everyone's done eating and he starts doing the dishes. That's the role he has at his house, and then he also does it at my house
Yeah.
sometimes when he's over here. The other thing I want to say to this lady, or I don't know if it's a lady or if it's the wife or the husband or part whatever. Where's your spouse in this?
Ooh, that comes up a lot
Because
in
if this is their
these
family,
in-laws.
have them step up
Yep.
and say, look, so and so has put a lot of work into this. Chill and be respectful. That and that may be in here later. I didn't finish reading the whole
whether
thing.
it's in that letter or not, that comes up a
Yeah.
ton. And all of these, in a lot of these conflicts, you'll have the spouse that is directly tied to the family that's creating the conflict, and that may not be fair to say creating, is somewhat absent or deferring and expecting the in-law spouse to handle it. And most of the time, no.
Yeah.
The direct spouse is to defend you as a unit married couple.
Yeah.
And that is something true when you're a young or where you're an empty
Yeah.
nester. Is no, you still are a unit.
Yeah.
So
So touch on the last one. This one doesn't have to do with holidays, but just a
well,
yeah.
if your holiday goes wrong this year, you might want to pay attention to this. The headline is, she has insurance policies on in-law. So I recently discovered that my mother-in-law has 2 life insurance policies on me, neither of which I knew about, and one of which is close to 20 years old. So without reading the whole letter, clearly
when they
she's
got
worried
married,
about that.
when they got married.
So, and they don't have a good relationship. I have my own life insurance. I don't need this. I'm not even going to read the Dear Abby answer, Well, actually, the first sentence, you have my sympathy.
Yeah.
Your mother-in-law appears to be a handful. I didn't even know. I guess it's technically possible for you to buy an insurance policy on someone that doesn't know about it, but I mean,
But don't you have to have like medical tests and stuff to
I
get? I mean,
don't
we did
know.
when we
Boy,
had our life
boy,
insurance
we are showing our
things.
ignorance here about
I
how to
know,
get
but
life insurance. But
well,
let's
'cause we've
assume
had
that you
ours or so.
can. How awkward! Like basically, I would have a food tester because mother-in-law is trying to cash in on me kicking out.
Well, and again, this is another one of. Does your husband know that his mom has this on you?
Ooh, what would that conversation? Harry, did you know that my mom has an insurance? Oh yeah, no, I've known that for years. What? Like in our family's context, that would be me discovering that Bunny has had a life insurance policy on me for 2 decades. I guarantee I'm having somebody else taste my food if I find that out. So, if
You might want to just question everyone at your holiday gathering. So,
yeah, so we talked about bingo cards at Thanksgiving. So at Christmas, ask everyone if they have a life insurance policy on you. And if they do, be very afraid, very, very afraid.
Yeah.
All right, so if y'all enjoyed that, I know we enjoyed that. And if you have family stories or anything like that that you would want to share with us. We'd love to talk about that on here. Or if this is the kind of thing you like, or hey, just tell us, hey, we like that. More Dear Abby stuff. Let us know what you might want out of an episode, because we're going to just keep talking to ourselves unless we hear more from folks as to what they want.
Yeah. So this episode will come out, Thursday before Christmas. We'll see what our plans are after Christmas. We have something in the works, but we'll see if.
I'm going to do a little tease and just recognize that it may not happen, but we're thinking about doing a live. So next Thursday, when we would normally drop an episode, don't know what time, we may go live.
Not next Thursday. Well.
Oh, not next Thursday.
No,
I'm sorry. The Thursday
after Christmas.
Actually, the next Thursday after this drops.
Sure.
It'll be the Thursday after. We may go live. We're going to see if we can get the kids involved in it. So little tease, but it could be a false tease. Just stay tuned to all the social media. If you're not following us on Facebook or Instagram, that's where you'll find out about it.
Yeah. And we just wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope your family gatherings go well.
And that none of them end up in any advice columnists' topics.
And if you have any questions about my plastic surgery or anything, just hit me up. I'm, like I said, an open book. So
she's been very open about it. Yeah. You even told our preacher about it today.
Yeah, well, you told the preacher about it. I wasn't there.
I did. And those are the kind of just life joys and funs that we experience in the loud quiet, living the empty nest.